to qualify for a health savings account, you have to have a high deductible healthcare plan. So if you don't have a high deductible plan, you're unfortunately not eligible for an HSA. They kind of go hand in hand. It's the plan's way, or it's the IRS's way of saying, let's make the high deductible plan more easy to save for, because higher deductible means you're out of pocket more before insurance starts kicking in. But in order to help offset that, it can be combined with an HSA. This has nothing to do with whether your plan's a PPO or an HMO. It could be either. It just has to be a high deductible plan in order for you to qualify to use an HSA. Now, just to be clear, that's to use an HSA. Let's say you have a high deductible plan and you have an HSA and you're contributing to your HSA, and then a few years goes by and you change jobs or change coverage, and you no longer have a high deductible plan. What that means is you can no longer contribute to your HSA, but your HSA can still continue to grow and you can still continue to use it to fund your medical expenses. Now, here's one of my favorite aspects of HSAs, and maybe one of the little known aspects of HSAs, is I can use the funds at any time. Meaning I can withdraw the funds at any time, even if it's not in the year that I incurred an expense. Let's take a look at this. Let's assume that I fund my HSA for my family at $5,000 a year, and I do that for the next 10 years. Let's also assume I break my arm every single year. And every single year, I incur $3,000 of medical expenses to fix my broken arm. Well, if I pay for those expenses out of pocket, meaning instead of taking funds from my HSA to pay for that, I take funds out of pocket and pay for it, what that means is my HSA balance continues to grow. So if after 10 years I've incurred $30,000 of medical bills and I've put in $50,000 to my HSA, and maybe my HSA balance is now $70,000, $80,000 with some growth, well, the nice thing is I can take out that $30,000 of expenses that I've incurred at any time, even if it's 10 years later or 20 years later. So this can kind of serve as like an emergency fund for some people, where I can say, I'm going to pay out of pocket now, because if I keep funding my HSA, one, I want those dollars to keep growing so they can pay for more medical expenses, maybe if I want to retire early or if I'm concerned about medical costs in retirement. But number two, let's say I lose my job, and let's say I have no more income, and let's say I've burned through my emergency savings. Well, I can then take out $30,000 from my HSA to pay for all those years that I broke my arm in years past, and I can do so completely tax-free. Meaning the withdrawal does not have to coincide with the year that I incurred the expenses. This is why it's important to keep track of your receipts or keep track of your expenses, because you can take it out, and if the IRS said, okay, well, show us those expenses, you would just need to have an itemized list of what those expenses were so they could see you weren't taking out more than your expenses, which would no longer be tax-free. Once again, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial, and if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients at Root Financial get the most out of life with their money, be sure to visit us at www.rootfinancialpartners.com.